Hello and welcome back to my channel. So tonight I'm actually at a very special event, a new scare event for me this year, this time not in a theme park. So I'm here at Burton Screamfest, which is really exciting. Got 5 new mazes to go through. I've never been through them before. Never been to like a scare park as well, like a scream park, I don't know. But yeah, 5 new mazes, could be longer than normal mazes as well, which is good. So the first one I plan on going through is Hillbilly Joe's Zombie Zoo. I think it's called. I think it's like the most tame one here. Hoping so. I've got 2 tickets just here, so I've got a normal one and a fast track. Probably be using the fast track later on so I can get through all the mazes in time. But yeah, just hopefully have a good night. Yeah, there's some rides here as well. Which look pretty cool. Obviously the skin snatcher again, as usual. I guess I'll see you when I come out of Hillbilly Joe's Zombie Zoo. It's like, yeah, Hillbilly Joe's Zombie Zoo. A lovely smile. Okay, so just came out of Hillbilly Joe's Zombie Zoo. It's a pretty nice little maze to start off with. It definitely was a lot more tame. I think not as many scares and the actors weren't too energized, but I think that was the point of that maze. It's meant to be a little bit of a less scary one, but I love the theming. The theming's surprisingly good with that. And the kind of sort of pre-show, it wasn't really too much of a pre-show, but it added a really good build up to it. But yeah, nice little maze to start off with, to be honest. So now I'm going to go and try Insomnia, going for a completely different vibe. I'm going to try and work from least scary to most. Assassin's Creed Farm will probably be at the end. So I'll see you when I come out in Insomnia. I'm looking forward to this one.
Okay guys, can I have your attention for a second?
Okay, so just done Insomnia. I think that was a pretty good maze. I was right at the front in part of it, because basically you kind of like get mixed around like halfway through. And I didn't really get too many scares on that one. I think it's because I was slightly ahead of the group. I got one really good one in one of the rooms with like a really tall actor who's right on top of me. But yeah, just didn't really get too many scares as I was going around. But yeah, very well themed maze again. I think it basically works on the idea of like going to like different dreams and nightmares and stuff, which is really cool. They had like a dentist bit, which is like going into like a shrinking corridor, which is really cool. And all that done in storage containers as well, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, hopefully I'll get a bit of a better run through that later with some more jump scares. But yeah, overall pretty nice maze. So next I'm going to be going into Freak Out on Tour. First clown maze actually. I've done Freak Show Toxic Junkyard, but that's like sort of clowny, not really. This is like the first kind of classic circus maze, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it's like. So yeah, I guess I'll see you when I come out of Freak Out on Tour. Okay, so just done Freak Out on Tour. Again, didn't really get a good run through on it. Like, it looks like a really good maze. And it's got a lot of really good scares as well. Also, they make you get lost in it as well. It's like you're going around in circles. But yeah, I didn't really get any scares, which is unfortunate. So hopefully on my later run through, get a better point in the group and get some better scares. So now I'm going to go and do Love Hurts. I think it's meant to be like a speed dating maze, which is an interesting concept. So yeah, I guess I'll see you when I come out. I'm very interested to see how this one goes. Okay, so it just came out of Love Hurts. I got the most scares in that one, which was good. Really, really good theming. The theming was surprisingly good. It was a bit of a shorter maze, but yeah, scares there were definitely good. Really good scare acting in there as well. But I think that's just because I got a good run on that. Overall, nice little maze that. Hopefully be good again when I go through later. So now I'm going to be going through the one that I'm most excited for, which is Creed Farm, which feels like a mix between... So I just got a comment from someone just saying that looked really good, so that's great. So I'm going into Creed Farm now, the one that I'm looking forward to most. I feel like it's going to be a mix between Altonville and Creek Freak, only in a cornfield, so that looks fun. First cornfield scare maze, so that's good. I guess I'll see you when I come out of Creed Farm. Okay, so just on Creed Farm. It was a alright maze, I think. I think there was a lot of more interaction than scares. The interaction was really good in it, but not with too many jump scares, or maybe again it might have been where I was in the group. But they had a massive pitch black rope section at the beginning, which I haven't done one of them since Subspecies, so that was great. They also had a guy with a machine gun at the end, not just the chainsaws, as you can hear behind me. And it actually like shot air, so I actually got like shot in the back of the head with the machine gun, which was great. It's kind of well themed, I guess, but I mean again, it's like in a corn maze. But there's not really too many indoor sections, so that makes it a little bit less scary. I think depending where I was in the group, I might have got more scares. I think it's also because I don't really have like over the top reactions, so they don't go for me as much. So hopefully tonight I might get some better run-throughs of all of the mazes, hopefully. I mean, I'll try and get myself towards the front, try and get like the most scares. But yeah, that's all my mazes at the moment. I'll probably get a drink or something, and then maybe go on some of the rides they've got here. So, yeah, chainsaw's going off again. I might go for from least favourite to most. So I might go for Freak Out on tour first. I didn't really get many scares in there. So yeah, I guess I'll see you there.
Why are you filming?
Because you look so nice. Okay, so just come off some of the rides, had a little bit of food as well. My hair extensions nearly came off on a couple of them. I think it was the Sizzler and the City Hopper ones. Yeah, my hair nearly came off. There was another one called, I think it was Venom, I think. For some reason it said on the board 5 token, basically like you paid £1 a token. And it said on the board it was 5 for that one, but it was actually 6, and I had to go back and get another token. So yeah, that was fun. So now I'm going to be going back through the mazes again on Fast Track. I'll be going through from least favourite to most favourite. Not necessarily because they're the worst maze, just because I didn't get the best run through. I feel like with this one actually, Freak Out on tour, I think I could actually get a really good run through on this depending on where I am in the group. So I'll be doing this, Creed Farm, Hillbilly Joe's, Insomnia, and Love Hurts. Can't believe I couldn't remember the name of that one. It was my favourite. See, I'll be doing it in that order. Who knows, my ranking might change. So yes, I guess I'll see you when I come out of Love Hurts, I guess. That's probably when I'll film next. Hey, so it's a couple of days after Burton Screamfest now. I didn't record an outro while I was there on the night because it was chucking it down, and to be honest I was really tired. So yeah, I just thought I'd record like a little bit of a summary now. Overall, I thought my second run throughs were much better, mainly because I got to go through a lot of them pretty much alone, or at least in smaller groups, which made the runs much better. And it's actually changed my ranking a little bit as well, so I just have to look on my phone because I can't actually remember what my original ranking was. The original ranking on my first set of runs was Freak Out on tour. I'm not sure if it's called on tour anymore, it might just be Freak Out, so I'll just call it Freak Out from now on. So it was originally Freak Out at number 5, then Creed Farm, Hillbilly Joe's Zombie Zoo, Insomnia, and then Love Hurts was my favourite. But then that actually changed afterwards, changed quite drastically actually, to Creed Farm at number 5, Freak Out at number 4, Hillbilly Joe's at number 3, Love Hurts at number 2, and Insomnia at number 1. And I think Insomnia changed so much, because that changed from number 2 to number 1. Not really much of a change, is it? But I think that beat Love Hurts because I had a really good run through where I was pretty much on my own for the majority of it. It was just the finale where I caught up with a group in front. It was a really good solo run through, really terrifying, and it was great. I think it's the one which just had kind of like the most budget to it as well. So yeah, I think Insomnia was definitely my favourite one. And apparently, I didn't realise this on the night, this was actually a new version of Insomnia as well, where they'd actually updated the maze for this year, which is really cool. Then second place, Love Hurts. I think really good maze again. I feel like the effects are amazing in that maze. The atmosphere, the theming's really awesome as well. I think the only improvements that I would give to it would need to be a little bit longer, just because I would say it's probably the shortest out of all the mazes. And I think the storyline needed to be a little bit more solid. Like, it was a little bit hard to follow what the story was meant to be. But I loved it, and it's such a shame as well that apparently this is its final year, so that's really sad. Then Hillbilly Joe's Zombie Zoo. I think it's just a really fun maze, really fun to go through. Got some pretty good theming in there, variety of characters. I love the kind of like pre-show area that you're in as well. It's not really a pre-show, but it's like a little room that you stay in before you go into the maze. It really builds up the atmosphere and the anticipation, which is good. It's definitely not the scariest of mazes. I don't think it's meant to be an intense maze. It's kind of meant to be sort of the family maze, but yeah, still pretty good. Still had some good scares as well at points. I think the only big improvement that I would give is on the way out in the kind of exit finale, I guess. You go through some mine shafts, very similar to Altonville, only you're like crawling through them. I think it would have been better if they could have tried to get some actors in there. I know it was quite a tight space, but maybe create some like holes in the side of the walls where actors could like jump out of and have some rat runs down the side. I think that would have worked great. There was an actor kind of like in a middle bit of that section, but not actually while you're going through the tunnels, and I think that would have made it a lot more effective. It's a fun little maze, to be honest. I can't really hate it too much. Then Freak Out. I think it's a pretty good maze. I mean, it's my first clown maze, like my first proper clown maze. I know I did Freak Show Toxic Junkyard, but that wasn't really like a classic circus maze. I feel this one wasn't really either. It's meant to be based on an abandoned version of the original Freak Out maze, which is a pretty cool idea. They didn't really explain the story as well. I've actually watched Theme Park Worldwide's press night video, and obviously they seem to get better runs. They always do better runs on press nights, but they seem to explain the story on that run a lot better, where it's meant to be that the clowns were all abandoned animatronics from the original scare maze that had burned down. But it didn't really make much sense to have them be humanoid then. Like, they had a lot of characters who were just in clown makeup when they were meant to be animatronics. I think it would have worked better if they were all like kind of in the clown masks like you had with a few of the other ones. Not really too many scares in there. There were a few every now and then. I think the finale was great as well. I think the finale is probably the best part of that maze, to be honest, with the clown which has teeth in his eyes in a way. Like, instead of eyelids he has teeth, which is really cool. And they got a really good strobe in that room as well, which means that it makes him look much more terrifying. And especially on the last run that I did, he got really up close to me, which was great. He's really aggressive as well. I like the fact that it's sort of free roam in a way. You can kind of get lost in there quite easily, but I wouldn't really call it fully free roam because the actors do guide you a lot. It's an alright little maze, but I think the other ones were much stronger, and again had much more scares, had a much better storyline as well, I think. And then, surprisingly, last place is Creed Farm, the one that I was actually looking forward to the most. You know, I felt like it was going to be a mix between Altonville and Creek Freak, but set in a corn maze. My main problem with this maze is that it has really good interaction. That's the really good thing about it. You know, really strong interaction from the actors, and I think the actors are doing a really good job. But there weren't really many scares, is the problem. I wanted more scares with it. There weren't really many places for the actors to hide to do scares, which was unfortunate. One of my favourite bits is actually the blackout section at the beginning where you have to follow a rope in the dark. So the pre-show for this one's really good. Really good interaction from the pre-show actor, but he sends one person through first to be like the group leader, but then he kind of like shuts the door behind them, and then they have to go on a separate path through the blackout section on their own. So I actually got picked for that on my second run, obviously knowing what was going to happen, knowing what the joke was going to be. But the problem was that there weren't any actors in that blackout section. Normally in the bit where the whole group goes through, there's a few actors in there which will jump scare you in the dark. I wish they also did a thing like Subspecies, where in Subspecies in their blackout section, the actors had a torch, which means that they could shine the torch in their face, scream at you, and then
turn it back off again, which I feel like was much more effective. While with this, they were just more like, you could see like a slight red light, I guess from a headlamp they were wearing, but you couldn't really see much else, which made it a little bit less scary. Also, I didn't really get any of them jump scares in the main section, but when I went through on my own, there weren't any actors in there, and I think you could have at least maybe had 1 or 2 actors in there, just so that means that whoever goes in on that solo run actually gets some jump scares. But yeah, I didn't. And then again, maybe on a press night or something where it's perfect, you might get a better run. But to be honest, on a press night, it should reflect how the whole event's going to be, because otherwise people are going to see that, go to the event themselves, and then be disappointed. So I would suggest that for any scare attraction that's doing a press night, make sure that level of quality continues throughout the event. You know, have a similar amount of actors, have the same amount of intensity, you know, because otherwise it's just not going to be as good. I think one of the big problems with Creed Farm as well is that I felt it was actually going to be a corn maze, so it was actually going to be, you had to work your way out of the maze, but it's actually a very linear path and quite a wide path as well, which means the actors, you know, can't really jump scare you. I think one of the only big jump scares they had was there's a bit with a load of scarecrows, and I think it's like one of the characters is playing hide and seek or something, but they're dressed like one of the scarecrows and then they jump out. I think that was an alright jump scare, but you didn't really have much of that. Again, it was a lot of interaction, which again was good, but a big part of the scare maze is to have scares, and I don't really think there were many scares. And I feel it very much relied on the chainsaw ending, which again, my thoughts on chainsaw endings, I feel like they're cheating. You know, anyone's going to run away from a chainsaw. I don't really find them that scary, is the thing, because I know that there's no, I mean, there is a blade on them, but there's no teeth on them. So there is the actual metal blade, but there's no like little sharp bits, and it doesn't actually go around. It's just mainly the noise of the chainsaw. I know that it's not real. I know that they can't do anything to hurt me, and so it doesn't really make it as scary, you know. To be fair, on my first run through, there was a guy with a machine gun, but it actually shot air, so he actually shot air into the back of my head, so that was nice. But again, not really scary is the thing. You know, I wish they had some more jump scares, more like impact scares and stuff, and they didn't really have that. I feel like I had very high expectations for this, and I think I had very high expectations for the event overall. And yeah, just Creed Farm just didn't meet it, unfortunately. I think if they wanted to improve that maze, make it in an actual, because, you know, they have a corn maze there, make it in an actual corn maze, you know, don't just have it on one linear path with corn around, like, make it so you actually have to find your way out, and then the actors can kind of, like, get you to go around in circles and stuff like that, and it can be much more claustrophobic as well, you know, you can make it much more tighter pathways. I think that would make it much better. And you could still have those kind of like indoor bits as well. There are a couple of like little sheds that you go through, and they were alright again, but again, not really too many scares that I got in them. So overall, I feel like Burton Screamfest, it was a nice little event. I think, considering that it's all on a farm, mainly in storage containers and marquees, I think they do a pretty good job. I would say Insomnia is my favourite. I think just it has a really solid story, solid theming, some really good acting in there. I love how the pre-show for it as well, it's sort of like a pre-show, is kind of a walkthrough one. We basically walk through a couple of rooms where you see some scenes play out. And especially when it went up my solo run through, I had a really nice bit of interaction with the actress there. She was great with that. I think just a lot of really good effects in there. A big variety of scenes in that one as well. And then Love Hurts. I wish that one was staying for a bit longer and they could really improve on it, because I already love it as it is. I think if it was just a little bit longer, it could have got the top spot, to be honest. But yeah, it's a shame that it's going. So anyway, that's pretty much my Burton Screamfest vlog. I hope it was a good enough vlog. There wasn't really like too much to put into it, to be honest. Unfortunately, there wasn't really too much theming in the queue lines or anything for most of them, so you know, there wasn't really too much reference footage or anything. I don't really know what the next video is going to be. I mean, I was at Alton Towers yesterday for another day at Scarefest, but yeah, I didn't film that or anything. What I'm going to be recording next is I'm going to be recording EuroTragic, the Minecraft Alton Towers Thorpe Park Halloween event, because I might as well film it. They've got a couple of new attractions in there. And then this weekend I'm going to be at Thorpe Park for Fright Nights. Again, very excited for this event. I think this one's probably going to be my favourite that I'm going to do this year. They've just got so many attractions. I'm going on Halloween weekend as well, so hopefully it's really good quality on that weekend. I will also be in London on the Friday. It was meant to be originally from Saturday to Monday, but because there is some rail works going on, I'm having to go up a day earlier on a 6-hour coach, so yay, that's fun. But I'm going to be going into London. I'm going to be doing the London Dungeon because they have a Halloween event on, and I'm going to be doing Peaky Blinders The Rise. So that's a immersive theatre production by the same people who made Doctor Who Time Fracture. I've been to the show before. It's a really good show. I'd highly recommend going to it. It's literally in Camden Market. It's so cool, and having watched the series, it's so cool to actually go to that show. So I'll be doing that on the Friday night, and then Saturday to Monday completely Thorpe Park Fright nights. So yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.